Good morning, this is Joanne in Colorado. I wanted to give an update on my garden. If you're a hummingbird enthusiast and you like to plant the flowers that attract hummingbirds, and you're like me and you work really hard to get all of the plants that they like, I live in Colorado. The weather's kind of usually pretty sunny here most of the summer. Usually we have sunny days almost every day, and we might have a storm sometime in the day in the summer, but we usually sometime have sun. And this year we had, I don't know, weeks, a couple different weeks where it really was cloudy, rainy, day after day after day. This is my sunshade. Anyways, the sun. I hung this dish up here to get the sun out of my eyes in the morning, because otherwise I can't see anything for an hour or two. Then the sun moved over next to it. So anyways, I used my lens cleaning cloth. Doesn't look real scenic, but it enables me to see. So now it's cloudy, but if I take that down, the sun will probably come back out. But anyways, you kind of wonder, if you plant all these flowers, what to do to keep them blooming all the way through the summer until the hummingbirds are gone, because when they're migrating through, they need the nectar better or more than ever. And it's funny, but I haven't seen one hummingbird at any of the feeders for about 4 or 5 days. So I changed the nectar this morning again, just to make sure. I mean, if they're migrating, they're not going to know that the ones that were here haven't been going there, and maybe they're just after the bugs and the nectar in the flowers, because they're definitely going to the flowers. I want to walk around my garden and just show you how the plants did. Generally speaking, in the spring, if I have the money, I plant nice, healthy plants, at least 4-inch pots. I'm sorry, can't get away from the allergies. I'm trying to pause it when I have to cough, but can't catch them all. This year I didn't have any money, but I had all the pots from last year, and so I put them in the greenhouse only a month before they were supposed to bloom, and let them, everything that would reseed from last year, start. I also planted all my tall zinnias in pots in that greenhouse, and I just planted them in the big pots that I wanted them to grow in. And then I bought a few salvias, but anyways, I'll show you which ones reseeded, and if I could do anything different. The year before, this last year, I put up the greenhouse in January and warmed it all up and started the seeds sprouting then. And then I took all the little seedlings and put them in little starter pots and fertilized them all, put them in good soil. And then as they grew, I put them in bigger pots, just like they would at the greenhouse. And I had a yard sale and sold $400 worth of plants at a couple dollars a plant. and $2 for a 4 or 5 inch plant or pot is pretty good, especially when the flowers are about to bloom. And so they did really well. But it did cost more money because I bought all the dirt and I bought all the little, well, I just bought cups. Took all the time sprouting and then kept the greenhouse heated all that time and watered them all that time. So it did take time, but I did sell enough plants that I was able to go buy the other plants that I wanted that I didn't have enough of. And the Vermillionaire, I usually go into the greenhouse early April and buy 2 of the biggest plants they'll sell me. And then I take those plants and cut off the stems about 4 inches or 5 and strip the bottom leaves and put them in little test tubes for water and root them. And then I put them in every pot that I can. And that is how I get them in a lot of different pots all over the yard, because hummingbirds absolutely love those. The bees can't get in them, and when the bees are in all the other flowers, the hummingbirds can have a really nice flower to be able to get nectar out of. Every now and then I'll see a hummingbird back away with the flower still wrapped around its beak, but they just tip their head the right way and it falls off. So anyways, they don't get trapped by the flower. But that being said, these hot lips are a perennial. If I had a garden of my own and I wasn't renting, they would come back every year. Maybe with enough pine boughs on this pot, they will. I do need new dirt, new potting soil in the spring with these. This one, because it's been shaded up here and on the side, and the sun comes from over there, this plant was just pretty little until I cut the inside out of that canna. If the canna lily hadn't been shading it most of the year, it would be huge by now. After I cut that out, this salvia got all kinds of new life on it. You have to deadhead these. If you don't, they'll quit blooming and go to seed. Every one of these puts off blooms on both sides of the stem. Let's find one. This right here. Each of these little plants will put off another flower stem. So when you deadhead, you get the one in the center. You get the one in the center, and that'll be done blooming. When it's done blooming, you clip it off, and the other 2 pop up, and they have lots of life. These were very slow blooming. These take at least 90 days if the conditions are right. If they get too much nitrogen, they will just grow leaves. But I had them blooming last July, and this year some of them are just now starting to bloom in October. That's not when you want them to start blooming. The Vermillionaire, they produce a lot of flowers. I love them. These cannas are small, and the flowers are smaller, but the hummingbirds just really love them. They produce a lot of flowers and nectar in there. This salvia is an annual, and this will reseed. If you get the seeds, you can shake them out yourself and plant them where you want. This right here has all kinds of seeds in there. You could clip that and shake it upside down in a cup and save all those. and plant them, and you'll have a lot of plants. And I will probably do that before the summer's over here, or before the fall's over, because that is a flower that I usually have a few pots of. Once again, if you're not deadheading it, no new life is coming out. But if you deadhead them, you'll get lots of life. These do not like being sprayed by sprinklers. They will get mildew all over them, which is a pain. Let's see, the purple salvia down here. This is one the hummingbirds really like, and as you can see, there's a lot of them that need deadheaded that I have not deadheaded yet. But we are just about out of hummingbirds. So I've slacked off a little bit just because I'm trying to find my husband a job, and it's more imperative. These zinnias produce a lot of flowers. Cut the old ones off, they will produce new ones. They get kind of scabby and scrubby in here if they get too much water, or grasshoppers were carrying some kind of blight. And I tried like everything to spray them with fungicide and whatever to keep it away from the flowers for the hummingbird's sake. But if the plant gets sprayed from down below, those leaves will do that too. It's just kind of starting to do it, and because it's late enough in the fall, I've kind of just let go the rest of it. I would love to have it all nice and clean and green all the time, but it's late, and what you want is all these flowers, because the flowers is what the hummingbirds, the butterflies, and the bees go to, and they go to them a lot. Hot lips, when they get white and red, that means they're just about done blooming on the stem. If you clip that stem in the center, like, I don't know if you can see this one. Oh, let's see here. Yeah, it goes right down in the center, and it's the one that's dead with nothing on it. Every now and then I just come through here and cut off a lot of them, the ones that don't have anything on the top, and a lot of them that are white at the top. And when they start new stems, they'll be bright red. And the hummingbirds love them better when they're bright red. So you can tell where I deadheaded and where they were still blooming. But there are a lot of blooms on this plant, so I always get hot lips. There are thousands of blooms on there, and they like these two, the white ones. It's just that, like I said, that means they're about at the top of the stem. This is one red salvia of this variety, the Rockin' Red, and it is one that is on the sunny side of the pot. These little salvia I planted from seed, and they reseed every year, so you can save those seeds. I found out that the purple ones, the black and blue, have bulbs underneath them. And if you dig those and can keep the bulbs in good shape for the winter, they seem to want to dry out, so you gotta keep a little moisture and peat moss or something in there. But if you can keep those bulbs good, you can replant them in the summer. Red ones, I haven't found any bulbs. They're a hybrid. Seems like the nurseries, you know, have grown them, developed them so that they bloom and bloom and bloom. But I haven't found seeds for them, so I would just say clip some, put them in water, try to root them. They seem to root better in the spring, but otherwise I just had to buy plants of them. But if you can keep a little plant growing for the winter, maybe you can sprout some new ones on the woody stems. So down inside the plant, these stems get a little woodier right here. They're a lot stronger, and maybe they'll root. Some more of the red salvia, as long as they're dead-headed. And I give mine Miracle Grow, the liquid kind that you put in a jug and it goes on the end of a hose. They weren't blooming very much in the spring, so I gave them some of the bloom boosters. I'm not sure if that made the plants slower, so if you can start them early enough and give them just the all-round fertilizer and do that once a week, you'll have amazing plants. Every one of these pots is at least 4 foot wide, and it's a 22-inch pot. More canna lilies. This is my vine, my Spanish flag vine, and it's finally getting blooms all over. But it took it till October, which is just not the way it's supposed to be. But this thing, if it would have started blooming earlier, it would have these all over it. And it's just barely opening at the bottom. So each flower will open and then the stamen will come out and then it can get to the nectar. Yeah, that pot are mostly the seed, the ones that seed, the salvia that seeds itself. And not too long ago, most of this was dead, but I deadheaded it, and I get these new blooms, bloom heads everywhere. That canna's about done, and I noticed that when those dry out, I've always saved the bulbs, but I just picked up one that was dried out, and a nice big round dark brown seed fell out. So I'm going to let a few of those dry and try to plant them from seed and see how that goes. My feeders and my other little bird bath at the tree. I put a elephant ear bird bath on top of the other one. The other one just wasn't holding enough water. And I've seen 3 and 4 little finches taking baths in here at a time in the last few days. This, I usually put a lot of the red salvia and calabrosia in it, but this year I just didn't have the money. I planted these, but I have not deadheaded them, and you can see how well they did. I have fertilized them a little, but not a lot. Because where I sit to photograph birds, this blocks my view of that. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm growing flowers where I can see them. This vine, I asked my neighbor if I could let it run up the fence, because I thought it would have blooms all over it early, and it didn't. But it's finally got blooms on it. And it's got a sun soul pink flower in there too. And then it's got all of these new blooms. So hummingbirds are enjoying that, and I'm sure he's got a lot of flowers on his side of the fence. This basket has been the prettiest, most prolific bloomer of baskets that I've had in a lot of years. I had the superbenia, little supertunia that was hot pink. Let's see if I have one. Oh, one's opening. Our excessive rain did this plant in, and all the pink blooms and all of the verbena all of a sudden just went kaput. The Bacopa kind of quit blooming itself too, but we got the water regulated and some sunshine back, and it's starting to look like a plant again. Had another little petunia over here that was really pretty, and it's got some fresh buds on it, so it's gonna bloom again. But that bloomed most of the summer, just till the end of October when it dropped off. So once again, it's normal for me to have a bunch of different flowers in the same pot. Varieties of spice of life. So Vermillionaire, the little reseeding salvias, hot lips. I think I had 2 varieties of hot lips. Looks like I've got a lavender in there, little. I have some hyssop, or hummingbird mint, and I guess that's all for that. But as you can see, the self-seeding, as long as I deadhead it, once again, it has a lot of flowers, and usually by the end of the day the bees have knocked all of these blooms off, and the next day we have a bunch more. These little hot lips, they don't knock them off quite so quickly, but plenty. This has been cleaned pretty much every day, and there's a lot of blooms down there. So this has the purple salvia that reseeds, the red one that reseeds, the Vermillionaire that I did cuttings of and made a whole bunch of, grew a whole bunch of plants off of the one, and this is huge. This is about 4.5 feet wide and filled with blooms. At the beginning of the spring, these plants were not doing so well, and it's because the dirt in these big pots is about 3 years old. My bees balm comes back every year, and as long as I deadhead, it'll keep going, but it has this mildew stuff, and I keep going in here and cutting off all the leaves with mildew, and it's got a whole bunch of new plants and new life. But it's late enough, I just haven't had enough time to go through and deadhead and deadhead and deadhead. More zinnias. This plant here needs some more clipping. This is one of the salvias that hasn't been deadheaded a lot, and my lavender. And there's a couple lavender plants in there. It just some salvia reseeded in the pot. This is more that's gotten too much water from above. Either that or the bugs are carrying mildew. The grasshoppers, I think. I think the grasshoppers carry a bunch. And I haven't seen too many little birds in here today, but I have been trying to capture some in the bird bath. Here's my cat mint. More bees balm. And I have tried so hard to get the bad ones chopped out so it gets new life and new blooms. I haven't. That's a perennial that most people think blooms once in the spring. This is a salvia, the magenta one, and they love it. It's got so many that I just keep deadheading, but they'll have a few a few blooms left at the top. And I hate to take them off when any day could be the hummingbird's last day here. But, I don't know, I was looking to see if you could see real clearly how the one in the center you can see this one's getting a bloom head on both sides of the stem, and that stem is about spent. So anyways, it has a lot of blooms that just have one or so blooms left, and then it's got a bunch that are freshly starting like these. So I'm just gonna let it go, and as I see the ones that are spent, those are new too. As I see the ones that are spent, I will go ahead and get rid of them. And I have been watching this and watching this and watching this. And finally, I'm getting my Spanish vine and my heavenly blue morning glories. Somewhere in this, there's, I think, a few moonflowers, but I don't see any blooms for those yet. Because of all of the very, very wet weather, this poor honeysuckle that really doesn't like a lot of rain, it would normally have thousands of blooms, literally. And it has just gone to mildew, or dropped all the blooms, or they've rotted off. I thought about just kind of shaving it back to almost nothing and see what it would do, but I'll do that another year. Just try to get it in a dry spot. Dry, sunny spot. This has got a red canna in the center. These have gone to seed, so I could keep those seeds if I want. Those are these little receding salvia. Some pink hot lips, that's another perennial. This is my bubblegum petunia, and it had loads and loads of blooms. And the hummingbirds were going to them. And then all of a sudden we had a week of rain, and all the blooms came off. All year up till now, they've just been full of them. And the purple salvia has been good. I deadheaded a lot, so I'm getting some new life in here, but there were a whole bunch of them that looked kind of shabby. And my hummingbird mint, it needed deadheaded a little before I started, but these have a lot of seeds in them, and I could grow a lot of plants. And these plants, I don't know, they cost me between $9 and $12 a plant, so I'm just thinking I should probably just let some of it go to seed, put them in a seed pack, and they grow great, they look great in the yard, and they produce a lot of hummingbird flowers. So just make sure you deadhead these plants and that you feed them the way you want them to produce flowers. These are in the moonflower family. They are poisonous, but they smell heavenly. When they first started blooming, they started putting off these big balls. I don't know what they produce in those, but I cut them all off, and they produce a whole lot of flowers. But they smell so good. If you could put them upwind of, you know, so they're blowing towards your patio or whatever, it would really make your yard smell good. So for now, I'm going to sit back and photograph my last little hummingbirds. And I don't know what day they'll all leave, but I have sure enjoyed having them. And this morning I wasn't disappointed. I still have hummingbirds in my yard. And finches. And what's great to know is now when the hummingbirds are not here to chase them all out, they are back using the bird bath that is right in front of me where I like to sit. And in front of the flowers, which they enjoy flowers too. When a lot of them go to seed, the finches start coming in and eating the seeds out of the stems. So for now, I'm gonna go, but I just wanted you to know these will keep blooming. They have bloomed from the end of April, and it is October 4th today, and I still have lots of blooms, and I've had less money than I've had for years. And I really, just because my husband hasn't been working for 3.5 years and was on workman's comp, and then the workman's comp stopped and he badly needs a job. But we've been looking and looking, and he's 67, and well, we're not the best at applying online. We're trying to put everything that we've learned together in hopes it'll help. Doves, they just like these bird feeders. I finally moved them back into that tree. Just put a fresh hummingbird feeder back up for the hummingbirds. And the other little birds have been enjoying the tree again. And they go to this bird bath that I made for hummingbirds. And the other one behind it. And the one in the corner, my chickadees and finches have been taking baths in again. And there was 30 hummingbirds here. It was no fly zones, kind of like their own air show, you know, they stop all the other air traffic. Well, it's kind of what had to happen here, because the hummingbirds just flat out chase everything else out of the yard. And they would stay in that tree over there as long as they could. And just recently I've put the feeders back up for them. I had a couple all summer long with that bird bath, but I have a few videos of the hummingbirds were using that bird bath too, and it wasn't as easy to photograph because they zip up in the tree and I have this big vine blocking the view. But the hummingbirds chased them out of that tree, and oh, it's great seeing all of these flowers on this vine, Spanish flag vine, that are all new life and new flowers that weren't here all summer. And the late travelers, they get to enjoy them. So for now, I will go, and thank you guys for watching all my videos. I'm sorry I'm not the world's greatest video taker, but I do love photographing birds and all kinds of things. So for now, you have a great day, and I'll be back.